Welcome to the Shakaama Live Show with your host, Shakaama. Bill Gates wants to tax robots. Let me tell you how ridiculous that notion is. He says he doesn't want to tax robots per se. He says he doesn't want to tax robots per se. That we should tax, but he wants to tax robots. So it's kind of ridiculous. He's trying to speak out of both sides of it. Let me tell you how terrible it is that Bill Gates wants people who are innovating to tax robots when he is a billionaire from innovation. Right? It doesn't make sense, right? So he's literally said he wants to tax installation of robots, and he wants to tax the profits made out of robots that replace human labor. All the money that you saved on not having humans, he wants to tax that. Okay, well, what about a company who never had humans? So literally he wants to tax profits. First of all, Bill Gates has no say in the matter whatsoever. And that should be everybody's position on the planet. That Bill Gates has no say. Warren Buffett claiming that millionaires should pay more in taxes than their secretary. First of all, it's a strange play. It's a play on words almost. Because what the secretary is doing is she's not being taxed how Warren Buffett is being taxed, right? I replaced the salty water. I had a terrible day. Had a very terrible day, very high blood pressure. But the doctor that I'm going to denies I have blood pressure at all. But my head is just going doo-doo. And a lady who recently came back from the hospital after 30 days of being in the hospital said literally they put her on blood thinners immediately because she got headaches with the high blood pressure, which was less than mine was when I went to the hospital. But, you know, people listen to women more than they listen to men. True story. I'll leave a comment if you want to comment on that little reference there, right? And I'll move on, because I'm now being demonetized because the people listening to me report my stuff, and it gets demonetized. So my little channel, they have to attack because I tell facts, and people lose their mind because they no longer can hear facts. Just like the people who got fired. Anyway. So, back to Bill Gates. So, Bill Gates isn't the only one. There were reams and pages on Google of people talking about, because, why? Because of income inequality. The most bogus thing that there ever was in the history of ever. Income inequality, for those of you who do not have an economics degree, for those of you who do not have a finance degree, for those of you who have no idea what money is, income inequality is ridiculous. Here is how the average serf, and I'm saying serf, right? These are people who have to work for the Lord, right? And the Lord is the guy in charge of the land and the money, right? We're clear on who the Lord actually is. So the serf starts out at 16 or 18, whenever they're going to start working, right? And they go get a job. They trade their time for money, right? And they start off Baroque. And I'm not talking about the Louis Vuitton or anything like that. They start off Baroque. The Louis Vuitton reference was the Baroque period, which had a bunch of flourishes. All of your clothes were super over the top, because I'm touching my velvet shirt. For those of you all who can't see, but you can hear me. I'm touching my velvet shirt because nobody wears velvet shirts anymore. I went into the Gap one day and I'm looking at because of course I'm a black guy wearing a velvet shirt in the Gap, right? And I go, do you have anything better than these shirts? And she goes, well, we don't sell velvet shirts. Meaning, what am I doing shopping in the Gap to begin with, right? So, you start off Baroque. You start off broke, no money, no car, no house of your own, right? Then you step up from that to middle class. You got, and if you're not doing this, there's something wrong with you. You haven't planned your life out. You are just winging it. And if you fail to plan, you plan to fail, right? If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Failure to plan is a plan to fail. Okay, so after the broke period, you're supposed to be saving money. This is somebody with a serf with a plan, not a peasant. A serf with a plan. The serf is akin to somebody who owns you. Okay, if you get that drift, leave a comment if you understand that part. So now you're middle class, right? And you're saving your money. You know, you get a house, you got a car to get you to a better job. Do you know owning a car gets you a better job? Do you know owning a car protects you from 50% of the crime that happens? 50% more crime happens to you because you walk, because you take the bus. You are physically present on the sidewalk at all times. So you are subject or exposed to 50% more crime than anybody else in the entire society, right? Here's what I know. And depending on the car that you drive, let's say you have a car, but depending on the car that you drive, you're then exposed to like 10% less crime because of the better car that you have, right? Did you know that part? If you are a responsible serf, you have your insurance, you have this and that and the other, everything's covered, or you have your security systems in your car. You all who are talking about I'm broke all the time, do you have security systems in your car? I'm talking about monitored carring, AAA, low jack, all that sort of stuff. Do you have security involved in your car? Or are you driving a Pinto? Are you driving a Yugo? Are you driving a Saturn that just is a car that just gets you from point A to point B? And if somebody hijacks your car, I don't know what's the word, steals your car, are you just out of luck? Or are you super responsible, and if somebody steals your car, literally it is almost no skin off of your neck, and they're doing you a favor because now you're going to get a better car than you had to begin with, right? Because if you get the right insurance, that's how it can work out. And for insurance, it's not such a big deal to write a thing to give the person a better car than what they have. right? I know a lot of you all don't have such insurance. Okay. Anyway, so you're middle class. And then at the end of your life, you retire and you have multiple streams of income when you retire because you did the retirement accounts. You did the IRA, you did the Social Security, you did the pension, you did the this and that and the other, right? There are still companies who actually give you retirement upon retirement. If you're a good serf, you search for that company. And as you go through the years of living your life as a serf, that means as a holding a job. Peasant means you're starting your own business and all that other stuff. As you go through your life, you are planning to go up the ladder, right? And so that at the end of your life, you're a millionaire. Not hard to do. What is it? You worked for 40 years? Not hard to do. You saved money, and that money made money, and you have multiple streams of income when you retire. You retire a millionaire at the end, and when you retire, not hard to do. Peasant, your family keeps you until you're like 30, until you're like whatever, and you buy the house next door, or they have been planning life from forever. You had your college paid for in cash, so you have no loans to it. You become either a doctor, a lawyer, or you're a part of the family business, right? So, when you have your broke period, you're not broke. You don't have a job. You have an income providing. It might be residual income. You might have invented something. You might have written a book. You might have written a manual. Maybe I should write a manual for a lot of you people, because you all keep asking me to write a manual for this and that and the other. Maybe I should take my own advice. It's just that I concentrate so much on so many things and to try and grow my business, which in this day and age is bad to do, because you have these people who think that they're doing good, but they're going around reporting people who don't have a job but have a business and are struggling just as much as the people with a job. And these people go around reporting them and say that this person shouldn't have a business. And what it does is keep me from hiring people, keep me from providing income for people to actually have an income for their family. I've wanted to hire about 5 people for about 5 years now. And I've said it over and over and over and over. And you know what having 5 people would do? It would explode the channel, first of all. My last video saying, can I hire this guy? He's a very talented video editor. I need a video editor. I can't do this by myself. And all of the YouTubers who are successful all have people work for them. Now, what does that have to do with taxing robots? It's all a part of the same exact things. People who are reporting me are the same people who are asking for robots to be taxed. It's all a web. It's all a web. Big web. Web. Oh, this is related to this, and this is related to this. There's a picture I think they have of it was a vampire thing, and the guy, probably a girl, because you know everybody caters to women instead of catering to men. Men create jobs. Men work jobs. Men provide money for entire families. Women buy stuff for themselves. That has nothing to do with anything. like people say, oh, she's so pretty. No, I like the woman who is so pretty she doesn't have to wear makeup at all. And in fact, the makeup detracts from which. I had a girl say, a lady was talking and she said, when I grew up, my mother put on so much makeup, she was a different person. She said, and I hated it. Now you can imagine that the child knew that there was Mother A and then there was Mother B with makeup. And the child said, in the child's mind, when she put up on the makeup, she became a different person altogether. And I laughingly said, there's quite a bit of pushback now from the makeup companies by men, because ultimately you're putting on makeup to attract men, because that's what it's for. It's not to look pretty. No such thing, really. There is no arbitrary pretty. Not from the perspective of putting on makeup arbitrary pretty. You're either naturally beautiful, you're either a 10 or you're a 5. Makeup doesn't turn you into anything else. Other than the people who have disfigurements and stuff like that, and they do that too. I went to Burger King and this lady has vitiligo all over her, and she doesn't put on any makeup at all. She doesn't cover it at all. And nobody, 5 seconds after seeing her for the very first time, thinks anything of it because she has a fantastic attitude and blah, 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 right? And I saw her again today. The first time I talked to her, I talked about the vitiligo. I have some vitiligo on my chin. I think you can't see it because of the hair. But when in the winter, when I am very, very dark, you can in the winter when I'm very, very lighter than this, you can tell my hair is brown. I don't know if you can tell. My hair is brown because of the sun. So in the winter, I lose all of that color and it goes back to, I guess, my normal state. You can tell I have patches of vitiligo on my chin. And in other areas, and it's spreading. So now I look like I'm part white boy, if you if you saw the various parts and you only saw those parts, you'd be like, wait a minute. The people talking about income inequality. So the income inequality, for those without the economic degree, is trying to say that we are all serfs, peasants, or kings, and that's it. And that you're born a serf, you're born a peasant, you're born a king. In the United States, nothing could be further from the truth. The whole pull up your bootstraps, tighten your belt, tighten your britches, work hard and you will be rewarded. That's capitalism, right? And so you go through the broke, middle class, rich, broke, middle class, rich, broke, middle class, rich, broke, middle class, rich. So the person who's rich over here started off broke, and this happens all the time. So this whole notion of income inequality, and all they do is point to rich people and then point to poor people. And the poor people are more than likely going to be younger, far younger than the rich people, right? They keep trying to turn everybody into rock stars, because it's good for TV. That's all they're good for. Turning chefs into rock stars. Chefs as popular as rock stars? Why? For the most part, chefs are invisible when they do what they do, which is sit in the kitchen, right? And it's now the foodie people are the ones who've taken the whole chef rock star to the next level, because the foodie people have a seat right in the kitchen, which I don't get. I just don't get it. You're going to call me crazy, but I don't get it. You have a table inside of a kitchen watching people work. That's like watching paint dry. Because even at the highest of the highest, you have these men, you know, over the plate, you know, putting the asparagus, putting the sauce, putting the parsley leaf there, and put, you know, over and over and over and over. It's like watching paint dry. There's nothing to see. But somebody said that was the thing to do, and so they started doing that, and voila, you have a table inside of the kitchen. Silly, I think. I think it's silly. But they want rock stars. Everybody's a rock star. Everybody's a rock star. Everybody's a rock star, right? Because that's what you. So this is what they point to. They say, "See, this rapper is rich. See, this is income inequality." Well, there's only one P. Diddy. There's only one Drake. There's not 50 million Drakes. There's not 50 million Russell Simmons. There's not 50 million Air Jordan. There's not 50, you know, and they keep pointing to people who are unique. Trump Industries, there's only one Trump Industries. Only one. Only one. There's only one Microsoft. There's only one Google. There's only one Twitter. There's only one Facebook. There's only one Instagram. There's only one Snapchat. How do we know? Because people keep trying to copy them and fail miserably. Right? People trying to introduce, and a lot of these companies, which these people who are talking about income inequality actually work for or worship. When in fact these companies do a lot of monopolistic things to make sure that their competition never comes to fruition. That rhymed. Maybe I'm a rapper. And finally you get the conservative saying, this is why taxing robots is a terrible thing. And it is a terrible thing. There is no such thing as income inequality. There's simply the transition in lives of you flowing through the economy and the economy flowing through you. At the middle of your life, you should have, from your young life, gathered skills that are marketable, that are good for companies. So even as a serf, the lowliest of the lowliest, that you have skills that you have been doing, you have been practicing something that a company will like. So even you, as a lowly serf, have something in your background, experiences, job experience, that you can take to a company and say, hey, I've been doing this for 6 months. I've been doing this for 5 years. Can I have this job that pays more? And that company says, yes, you're exactly what we've been looking for. Right? But our education system is telling us that we should have it right now. We should have it right now. And women who are indoctrinated because they're women to believe that are now raising children to think we should have it right now. We should have it right now because they have been handed everything. And for all of you women who are going to comment and say, I wasn't given it, that's you. That's just you. Somebody wanted you to be a dude. But for the most part, women are handed everything from baby girl on up. Why? Because you have the children. We have to pamper you, or we're supposed to pamper you. So if you are trying to relinquish your position as the child bearer, then we're going to have to rethink everything. And this whole, we should have it right now, is going to disappear. So the conservative views is taxing robots gets rid of innovation, because having a robot is innovation by itself, right? So then if you tax something, you get less of something. If you tax robots, you get less robots, right? Unless the robots are making the bread, putting it in the bag, wrapping it up, shipping it out, and then coming and doing the accounting. I mean, just wiping out any possibility of any sort of labor cost. But they want to tax all of that. They want to tax all of that and tax everything, and then demark, you don't have a baker, you don't have a bagger, you don't have a shipper, you don't have an accountant. So we're going to tax baker, bagger, shipper, accountant, all individually, that the robot has done. Now, so those taxes are going to end up like 40% or something like that, right? You have to add up all the taxes of each individual line item that they're talking about. You're going to get less robots. And then instead of innovation, because in my next thing, we'll talk about what you do after automation hits. And there's no talk about it. I want to talk about that. So tune in for the next video. Taxing robots is terrible, and it seems only Silicon Valley and the income inequality people are talking about taxing robots. They're the only, and why is it that only they are the only ones who are trying to promote this idea, are the ones talking about it? And it's clearly demarked liberal versus conservative, and the conservatives are saying, no, we are built on capitalism. So if you make the better mousetrap, in this case the business itself is the mousetrap, that you are destroying innovation by trying to tax robots. It's literally like saying you're taxing your toaster. I have come up with an idea that we are going to make toast. And then they tax the toaster. Why? That's like taxing the needle of the seamstress or tailor. That's like taxing the anvil of the blacksmith, the hammer of the blacksmith. That's like taxing my camera. Does that sound ridiculous to you? It sounds pretty ridiculous to me. And every time I make a video, there's a tax. Now, for me, there is a tax because there's all the expenses of all of this going on that you can't see to make a video. So I'm constantly just losing money. Please don't support the channel, patreon.com/Shakaama or paypal.me/Shakaama. You can donate anywhere from, $50 on up. If you really, and I don't have a computer. I am trying to raise money. First, I need to raise money to get my computer back. Then we want to actually have the trip going to Asia to go have a full documentary on these robots and all the robot manufacturers in Asia. That's a trip to China, trip to Japan, trip to Hong Kong, trip to all of these places. All of these places. And I'm keep getting information that the new Asian country has come up with stuff because, of course, they copy each other just as much as they copy the United States. But here, the innovator is China. The largest innovator right now is China. China is actually putting money into robots from their government. The United States is not. and they're trying to tax the robots that we have. Thank you all for watching. Leave a like. Thank you.